6.8 is solving equations by factoring. For our second objective here is we're going to factor and solve our equations. So before they were already factored for us, now I'm going to make you actually do the factoring yourself. So here are our steps. So first and foremost, we're going to get 0 on one side of the equation. We do that using the addition property. So always get one side of the equation equal to 0. Then we're going to factor the expression, the side that doesn't equal 0, factor that expression. Then set each of those factors equal to 0 and solve our equation. So you'll have two separate equations to solve. Alright, so let's work on our steps here. The first step I said is get 0 on one side of the equation. So I'm going to add 16 to both sides. So I end up with x squared minus 8x plus 16 is equal to 0. Now from here, I think about two numbers. I'm going to make my x. Two numbers multiply together get 16, add together get negative 8. It's negative 4 and negative 4. So I have x minus 4 and x minus 4 equals 0. So I factored. And then my next step is to set each of my factors equal to 0. So x minus 4 is equal to 0, and x minus 4 is equal to 0. So we really only need to do this once, since it's the same number. Add 4 to both sides, and we get x is equal to 4. So that would be my answer. This one only has one answer because they're the same factor. Most of the time we'll have two or more. So let's try this again. This one is already set equal to 0, so step 1 is done. Step 2, we need to factor. So two numbers multiply together get 6, add together to get 5. It's going to be 3 and 2. So x plus 3, x plus 2, set that equal to 0. Now I set each of my factors equal to 0. X plus 3 equals 0, and x plus 2 is equal to 0. And I solve. So subtract 3 from both sides, x equals negative 3, or x is equal to negative 2. So I have my two factors there that I could be. Alright, in this one, I'm asking you to find the roots of the polynomial. Now when you're asked to find the roots, the factors are our roots. Or the answer to the factors are our roots. So that means that I want to set this equal to 0. So my first step is write the equation. So x squared minus 5x is equal to 0. Now I got to go all the way back to those very first rules of the general strategies for factoring. First and foremost, before we want to start making two sets of parentheses, I want to see, do they have anything in common? And these ones do. They have an x in common. So I'm going to factor out that x. X minus 5 is equal to 0. Now I'm going to turn this into its own set of parentheses. So then we have x is equal to 0, or x minus 5 is equal to 0. And x is equal to 0 is already solved. In this case, I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and x is equal to 5. So I have my two answers. So in this last one here, I want to find the roots. So these are our roots right here, by the way. These are roots. I want to find my roots. So set it equal to 0. 4x squared minus 25 is equal to 0. And this is the difference of two squares, because this is really just 2x squared minus 5 squared is equal to 0. So we'd have 2x minus 5 and 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. So finally, 2x minus 5 is equal to 0, and 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. And we solve these two problems. X is equal to 5 over 2, or subtract 5, x is equal to negative 5 over 2. And see, these are my roots in this case. Alright, so here are a few problems for you to try.